We are now having a My Festool giveaway. You can get all the stuff if you click in the description below, but you stand a chance of winning one of 5 starter sets: a CT15, ETS 125, a pre-filled 5-inch sustainer of paper, and the starter cleaning kit. Hey, you gotta get signed up because it ends on Sunday, March 31st at 11:59 p.m. Go to the description and click the link. Okay, so I'm gonna take it like this and go like that. That's gonna mark my domino face. It's not where I'm gonna line up the domino or anything. It's just where I'm gonna put the plate of the domino when I'm referencing it. So what we're gonna do today is to do a through tenon. We could use the regular beach 5x30s, but today I'm going to use, because I like the contrasting wood, these are our outside exterior use dominoes. It's a Sippo mahogany. It resists weather fairly good, but also it's insect resistant. Whew. So we're going to use a 5x30. So what are we going to do? Check to see if we have a 5mm bit on there. I'm just going to pop it off, and I'm going to verify. And the only reason I'm doing this is I like the pop. Okay. So it is a 5. It says it right here. We're going to plunge equidistant into each board. It's 30. So, Minnie, what's half of 30?
15.
Okay, so we're going to set our depth at 15. Now, a couple of tips. I'm going to set up the machine to plunge vertically, but I'm also going to set up the cross stop. So I want to do it all first before I get started. And there's a big emphasis on the cross stops on this because we're not going to be out, we're going to be in. You'll understand this in a minute. 20 and 37. 37 is right from the flap to the center. But when I flip this little wing out here, now I'm 20. And that allows me to get the 20 and 37 on my boards. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the plunge height. Now, Minnie, what's half of 12?
6.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna be using 12mm thick or 1/2-inch thick material. Okay, I always get this drawer box material. You can get it in different heights. Oh, I don't even know the height of this one. Let me measure this one. I think it's 8 inches. Yep, 8 inches. Why do I second guess myself? Okay, so there we go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my plate height. This is the plate. I'm gonna set it down, but I'm not gonna jam it down, and I'll show you why in a minute. So let's verify this. Get in here, Chris. You got it? So I'm gonna take this gauge block all the way out and bring it down, because guess where it bottoms out? At 6mm. The thing I want to make sure is that these are still usable. Sometimes if you push it down too much, these stay in. But I'm going to be using these 37mm. Okay, now, see this little pin right here? That goes in like this. But you want to make sure that when I pull it back, it locks in, and it does. The next one I'm going to put on here. And this is a tip that I want to show you because I used to get so frustrated with this. We're going to be setting these up in a few minutes, and we have to bring them all the way in. And you can't bring them all the way in if you set them up afterwards. And I'll show you. It gets caught. These you can't lock. These levers you can't lock all the way back. So now I'm going to put on a support bracket. And basically, for the time being, this is set up. And what we'll do is we'll do the... Okay, good. Got it? I think, Chris, we spent 10 minutes just putting on the support bracket. Okay, so let's set it up. I'm going to bring this here. See my mark I have here. And this is quite repeatable from the original number 32. I'm going to set it up here. I got it set here. So if we think about it, I'm going to put my plate here. I'm going to write H for horizontal. This is my top, so from the top, I'm going to write 20. That reminds me visually that I'm going to put the flap down on, and then here, I'm going to go 37. But this is the one I will talk about in a few minutes, okay? This one, I'm going to take like this, bring it like this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different. Okay, this is pre-finished ply. 12 millimeter ply. So if I plunge like this vertically, because I'm gonna put my plate here, that'll work because you shouldn't see tear out. But I'm gonna go from the outside in. I'm still gonna plunge vertically because if I have any tear out in the material, it'll be covered by here, okay? So I'm gonna plunge from the outside in vertically, but here's where it gets confusing. I'm gonna go 37 here from the bottom and 20 from the top. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my example over here. How do I get the center one? Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I'm gonna pull this over because I made one yesterday, and I'll show you the second way I'm gonna do this today. Because I want to set up my cross stops to do all three. So hear me out. I'm going to measure from here to here because I want to get it close to center so when I pull the drawer out, you can see, oh, look how, that's aesthetically pleasing. So I'm going to take it like this. Minnie, I'm going to ask you a question here. What's half of 130?
65.
Boy, she's wicked good at metric, isn't she? So let's do this, 65. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a quick mark here. Give me a second. I'm gonna mark 65 right here. Whoopsie, broke that lead. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a measurement from here to here. And from that line where I'll put another domino in the tight setting, it's 110, I'm gonna write this right here, 110 millimeter. Okay, so that allows me to set my cross stops at 110 millimeters so I can reference the bottom edge. Okay, next, I'm going to get my cross stops set up. All right, now, hopefully we can come in here and see this. I'm gonna count over 110. There's 150, so each one of these long marks is 10 millimeters. So I'm gonna bring it in. Now, here's what I was getting at earlier, and I don't wanna get confused. See this lever? If I had put these on afterwards, see how it gets held up there? So that's why you put these on first and then bring your cursor in so you get the right spacing. I'm gonna take and I'm gonna move this one in because we need both of them. I'm gonna make sure I can grab that 110. I'm always in a hurry, trying not to hurry. I always set the front one first. So then I get that accuracy that this allows me to get. I'm gonna make sure I bring this down. I'm gonna verify everything. I'm set at 15, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so make sure I get everything locked down. I get them up against my stops, my low profile stops. I'm using my lever clamp. So let's do this one first, but here's where I gotta remember, the 110 is from the bottom. Okay, that's why I have both of those on there. So let's do this. Let's do the horizontal first. And this is the one of the two ways I'm going to show you how to do this. So you get the spacing. Now, always remember, because you want it to look, because it's a through tenon, you want it to all be tight. So that's why you got to rely on the precision of this machine. Okay, so I'm going to use the flap here at 37. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and use the pin to grab the 110. Okay, I'm going to turn it off. And remember what I've said every single time I go to switch the flap. This has to be completely off because this is too close. So I'm going to bring that flap in right there and I'm going to catch the 20. That's why you label everything. Okay, so let's get in here to see this. They're all tight. And you know what? That is close to where I marked it just randomly, but that's not my witness mark. That was for where I lay my plate. Now the next, you know what? I'm going to take that out right now and let's get the tenons in here. Oh boy, is that nice. Okay, just like this. Just like this. Oh, okay, so there you go. That's the first part of the equation. Now the second one, once again, I don't have really much to go over because I have it labeled on my piece. Okay, so I'm just gonna take it like this. I'm gonna turn it on. Let's see. I'm gonna grab 20. So I got to make sure I have that right. Let's see if this is correct. I'm going to be taking it like this, 20 from the top. See that? I'm going to use that. I'm going to bring it in like this. Remember, when I'm plunging vertically and I turn the machine on, what do? I pinch it on. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to get rid of the flap, make sure the machine's completely off. Now I'm going to get 37 here, making sure my flap is on it. You know the flap is registered. Hopefully we can get this right here. See that triangle right there? See how it's at the top of the triangle? That way I know I am completely shouldered. The flap is completely shouldered. And then I'm going to come over and get the 110. Oopsie. What did I do wrong? I was supposed to go vertical. Oh. Hello. It's okay. This is going to be a easy drawer to install because I've removed some of the waste. I'm sorry. Here we go. This is awesome. Woo! You know what? Garrett's laughing right now. So there we go. It's going to be more aerodynamic. And now I'm going to grab that flap right there and do the 110. Okay, let me hang this up. We're going to come back to this in a couple of minutes. Okay, let's see how we did. This is my outside. This is my inside. I'm going to bring it over like this. Let's hook her up. I'm going to get this out of the way. Okay, so let's bring it in. How we doing, Chris?
Great.
How's that? And look at that. So I think that's great spacing there. And what we have is we have a keyed drawer here. I'm just kidding. So now it's lighter to install. Never mind. Okay, so what if you do this? And I've heard people say this all the time. Well, I'd plunge into each of them simultaneously. But for me to lock this in and do them, it doesn't work for me, okay? But what I have done is this. I have created one. Remember I measured from here to here, and it was what, Minnie? 110, it was 65, right? Mm-hmm. And from here to the center is 110. What I did yesterday, and this is another way you can do it. I have friends who actually do this. See that? I can now take the domino and from the bottom, put it at 110, or whether you use the cross stops. Okay, but there's a caveat to this, and you gotta remember this. In each of these pieces, the plunge depth was what? 15 and 15, right? I had to go through this board to do the through tenon. I will set my plunge depth now, let me take this off, okay, to be what? 28. Because I want to plunge all the way through here and into here, so that domino goes all the way through and sits perfect. Now, someone will say, well, you're going to leave 2 millimeters. And, oh, it doesn't plunge 28. No, it doesn't. But these dominoes are cut down to allow for glue to weep out the sides here. So I'm going to measure this really quick. And this length is not 30, it's actually 28. So there you go. Hopefully you got that.
Someone literally just asked that question.
Yep. Yep, and I just answered it. How's that? It's like, so it's funny because when I design these Festool Lives, I've been asked that question 1,000 times. I want to make sure I can get that content for everybody. Because basically you're going through a Festool training here. So now I'm going to take it like this. Look, I'm just going to make sure, everybody make sure it's always locked down. I can actually use the line here, because you see the center line right there? I could do that, but I like using the cross stops because it's, what if I have 100 of these boxes to do? It's a no-brainer. Always remember, pinch it on. Hey, Mo! Now my buddy Ronnie, he does these, but he does them all because what he does is he puts his drawer boxes together and puts them together with a pin nail, and then glues it up, and then what he does is he comes back and does a domino for strength. But there you go, and you can knock that right in. There you go, and that's sitting a little high. You could take a flush saw if need be and just take it out. but that's how it works. Okay, so there you go. The stand is this, watch. Here's the handle, and it's one of the legs, just like this, okay? And guess what? It's the exact same stand as both the KSC60 and the KS120, okay? What's different, and I'll go in that in a few minutes. Now, I'm gonna take this and set this aside. This is one of the legs, but it's also one of the handles. So I went out back today, and one of the things you gotta do when you put the stand together, the one that comes for the KS120, hey, it's been a few weeks, give me a break. Garrett's over here laughing, okay? This is what goes on the bottom to go on the stand. Chris, follow me over here. What goes on the bottom of the cordless K-Pex is this. It's a full bracket. And we have these extra extensions here. Whew, I told you, I'm gonna work up a sweat today, guys. So when you put these on, Chris, come in here. Everybody would say, hey, these look identical. Okay, everybody, in the chat, tell me, identical, what movie? Don't say it. I know you do. Identical. Okay, they're not identical. Hey, you tell the two Utes. Okay, over here. This one has this little tab. Okay, so Chris, I'm gonna have you back up over here, and I want you to look at the K-Pex. When I look at the K-Pex, KS120, this is my right, I know that, and this is my left. So when you put these brackets on, it comes with these 5mm hex cap screws and this nut right here. And where it goes is through the K-Pex, through here. And I want to do this up close so you can see it. And it goes in and then locks in just like that, okay? You just put it in like that. But these brackets are what's important. You see this tab here? This is what locks the handle in the upright, on the storing position. So you want to get this one right. What I like to do is I'll bring this up like this so you can see the bottom of the K-Pex, okay? And always remember this. Chris, follow me on this. This unit goes here, and this goes to the back right of the K-Pex. Follow? And I put that on about 10 years ago. And I haven't taken it off yet. Okay, now, once you have that on, what I like to do is take the stand like this, and I like to bring it over ever so slightly like this and grab my handle here. I've done this a few times, setting these up. This goes in, you see how this handle is canted in like this? That's where this goes, okay? But when you set this up, I like to take the K-Pex, tilt it up. Chris, come in here so we can see it. There's a little groove here, and it matches with the line. Thank you, Garrett. So when I take that, see this? You got it? You see this little ridge right here? It's like a captured washer. You take it like this, and that slides right up in there like this. And Chris, get in here and see this. See where it says unlock and lock? You want to lock this in because you don't want it to fall out as you're grabbing it. Garrett, I'm just going to take it and set it like this. Okay. Whew, boy, this brings back a lot of memories in 2007. I was in Germany setting this up, and one of the things they all said, all the trainers said, go ahead, Sid, you do it. And I had no idea how to set this up. So I set it up. I was pretty good at it. But the one thing I didn't do, everybody watch. Watch my foot. You put it right here. When you are loading the saw or unloading the saw, make sure you step on that stand or you're going to go for a ride. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to turn it like this and I'm going to grab it. Chris, get back here so everybody can see this. There's actually a handle right here. So I'm going to grab it, and you see that handle? I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in there like this, kind of center it like this. Okay, make sure that these are unlocked. And then I can come over here and get it so it sits right on that washer. Chris, really quick, pan up real quick. Be patient when putting this together. Okay, please. And that's all you gotta do. That's the stand. Pretty easy? Okay, good. Now you know, and look, over here, you see this tab? See how I have it open? When you are folding this up, put your foot here. So you can lift it like this. See how that locks in? You can take it down like that, nice and easy peasy. Whoa, okay. Am I earning my keep today, kids?
Yes,
Woo.
yes, sir.
Good, good. Okay, so next. This is what I was seeing all over the internet. Everybody, or not everybody, quite a few people were taking the saw, the KSC60, and putting it on this first, and then loading it like I did. There's no need to. Watch. Chris, come over here so we can see this. I went over this in the original KSC60, but I want you to see these leveling pads. Let's flip it up underneath. You do know I should call this out. You have storage for extra blades underneath in this bracket. But these twist like this, and this will help us level it to what? The extensions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to take it like this. I just got to eyeball where I'm going with it. Boom, boom. This is the front. You see the sticker. I'm going to tilt it up. And I'm going to slide it in. Okay, kids, here we go. See that? I think that's a lot easier. It will be for you, not for me. Okay. Watch. That is a lot lighter. And that goes on there just like this. And we are ready to load. Always make sure you lock it in. Cool? Whew. All right, I took the 4mm screws off. I'm going to take my KSC60. Oh, before I move on, somebody was asking about this. See these little pods? They're 20mm. So what those are for, those go on the KSC60 when you want to use it just on the table. And when you put these in, these holes right here, Chris, come here, here, and here, that will fall into the matrix of the 20mm holes that are drilled 96mm on center. Because 32 plus 32 plus 32 is 96. Okay, one of these days I might do some math. Mr. Metric. So when I take that, I'm going to take those holes that Chris came over and shot, and those line up right on there like that. I'm going to take those right in and put those screws in there, 4mm screws. And just take my time doing it. Wow. So I'm just going to undo that, get it in there like that. I like to use a drill for this because it's really quick. On those pods, just like that. Whoopsie. Really strong magnet. If you don't have this, Chris, come over here. So you can see this. Look, there's a 4mm hex stored right on board. So you can take care of that just like that. But me, being a little anxious today, I'm just going to take this and suck it up. And the reason I want to show you this, I'm going to get this out of the way because the difference, but the big difference is the extensions. If you have extensions for a KS120 and you want to use them on the KSC60, you may. But your scale will not line up because you have this what? Little extra piece here. Follow me? Okay, but this little extra piece is kind of cool. It's roughly 115 millimeters. So that scale is off if I put these on the KS120. Because on the KS120, hope you can see this, it mics right up. This, you know this is a little larger, but this mics right up to it. See that? Both of them have V-grooves. This one's plastic. But I want to call this one out because everybody who came into the training center way back when used to come over and say, hey, look at this. And I just did a Festool sedge on this. You see this right here? You see the fence, Chris, come over here so you can get it over here. This part of the extension doesn't have to line up. You just need to have it back a little, because if you have any bow, whoopsie, any bow in what, some chair rail or just regular cuts, it'll spring out if it's being caught here against that fence. Hopefully that made sense to you. So there you go. That's the extensions on there. I put them on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing in, and I'll do some calibration in a minute on them. I have a friend who just got his stand, and he freaked out because it took him a few minutes to realize something. And through the course of the years, I know some of you out there, because you've come up to me and said, hey, can I buy those extensions on the extensions? And you go, huh? Let's look at this distance right here. From the blade to here, you have 58 inches, okay? You have a lot more. Chris, come over here so you can see this. Look at this knob, see that? I can pull this all the way out. Okay, but what you have to remember, because now you have a stop here. Chris, could we come over here really quick? Mm-hmm. If I need to cut something at 87 inches, look, the reed is right here on the edge. Follow me? If I need to see this stop right here, if I need to cut something at 3 foot, it's right here. Now, I'm going in imperial right now, and hopefully everybody understands that, because people get confused all the time. But you've always been on there on those extensions. They've always been included. I know people have used them for 3 or 4 years and they didn't know those were there. So it's cool, because you don't have to know everything. You know what? You should always watch Festool Live, I'll tell you. All right. Here's a big difference. On the KSC60 extensions, it's only available on metric. Okay, consult the website. But in the KS120, it's imperial and metric availability. It's not a dual scale. You can get them either in imperial or in metric. Okay, so there you go. Now, when you set up your extensions, there's a few things I want you to do. And the first one I want to show you is this. I'm going to take, see those knobs I was telling you about underneath? Chris, get in here so you can see this. Right here, Chris, watch. See this? Look how I can lower and elevate it. So what I want to do to this, I want the deck, the same plane of the deck to the same plane as this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elevate it. And the only thing I'm going to be concentrating on is right here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take the clamp, and you know one F-style screw clamp comes with a K-Pex. You can either lock it back here or right here with a KSC60. I'm going to bring it in and lock it down. So what I'm doing is I'm taking myself out of the mix. And Chris, come over here so you can see this. See this right here? See that daylight? I can take this and I can tune it in. And this isn't being level. It's bringing the deck of the K-Pex KSC60 in the same plane as the extensions. Okay, now over on the KS120. Woo! I told you to push it back a skosh, and I think that's it. Garrett, is that a technical? Skosh is good?
Skosh is good.
Okay, skosh is good. Hey, you know, Minnie would already be on the second board.
She's much better than
I know, whatever. Okay, Chris, come back here. You don't have to guess how far you have to push it back. Right here, and I showed you this in one of the lives, push it right back, and it has a hard stop, so you can bring it in. Woo! Okay, let me see if I've covered what I need to cover so far, because I'm going to kick it up one more notch for everybody.